It's your friends, Renita and Tara. All right. So today's topic is all about bam. Guess what? We are trying to get to work on our health. All right. We're trying to get on a train of eating better, being aware of exercise and movement, and just we're just being really transparent about this has been a struggle for both of us.
Say it the right way. This shit is hard.
It's hard as it baby, when you like to eat like we do, because we like to eat, right, Tara? I mean, that's just straight up.
I like to eat out. Like, not just eat. Like, I don't want to cook and eat. I want to go somewhere and get something and eat it. Yes,
and
ma'am.
it tastes good, right?
Yes.
And so, although we understand that, right, we also know the effects of this, right? And so for me personally, I was like, not liking how I'm looking in these pictures.
Okay.
Not liking that extra weight. And to be fair, we are in our 40s, and from the things that I've read, you can exercise all you want, but if you don't change your eating habits, that's where you typically see that, right? So, honestly, one day I'm gonna give a shout out to Noom, because I kept seeing some ads for them, and I have a bachelor's in psychology. I've always found psychology interesting. So what really struck a chord with me was that Noom really talked about the psychology and the reason why you eat the way you do, or what some of your triggers. And I was like, okay, at first I kind of was like, okay, what is this? Because to be fair, I've never, I wouldn't even call Noom a diet, but I've never even tried like a diet or any kind of program. Because to be fair, I've been a hater. I was just like, nobody's going to tell me what to eat, what not to eat. And I will be like, I'm putting it all out there. I have skated by because I love vegetables. I love water. I was like, I'm pretty healthy, like eater. And then it was like, clearly you're not. So I decided, you know what? The free trial got me. And so one day I said to Tara, somehow I said something to you about Noom, and you were like,
Right.
you're doing that. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to give it a try. So, you know, let me just say that's how I started on this particular path. So I don't want to keep going. I want you to say kind of your intro about what made you
want to do it.
Yeah.
Well, first, friends, I have a shape, and that shape is round, and it wasn't always that way. But mostly mostly it is that I am just friggin' exhausted all the time. I have a 7-year-old, and he wants to go outside and play dinosaur hunt and pretend to be Elytra and lightning. And after about 5 minutes, I am winded and not a lot of fun to be around. And that's not like when I imagine being a mom, which is something that I've always wanted to be, that's not what I saw, right? I saw
Wait, hold on.
playing.
He wants to pretend to be a what? You use some language that I'm like, a lighter. What?
Well, Elytra is something in Minecraft, I'm sure, some wings.
Oh, shout
But
out to Minecraft World. Okay, I'm sorry. Just explain to people because see, I don't
no,
know Minecraft.
he has this imagination that can just bring you right on in.
Okay.
And so we have created characters, and I'm Elytra, and I have the power to be able to fly.
Okay.
and he's lightning, and he has the ability to summon lightning. Right. And we go around and we fight crime. And when you're around, there's not much crime fighting happening. So when you were like, let's try this Noom, well, actually, you told me about Noom. You've never been one to be like, hey, jump on this bandwagon with me.
Nope.
But you said it, and I have seen the Noom commercials, and I was like, hokey, little people, what? Sure. But I was like willing to give it a shot because I'm just like tired all the time, and it can't be work. Okay, now I'm going on and on, but like I've been virtual for a year. Like ideally, I should have time because at the very least I don't have the drive to and from work. So there is some time that anyway, I haven't done anything with it but eat cheeseburgers. So
That's not true.
well, that's how I feel.
Okay, let's be fair. You started out doing things because I talked to you. We started within a couple days of each other, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like we both started out well.
No, I'm talking about pre-Noom.
Oh,
like,
I'm sorry. I got you. Okay, I'm
yes.
sorry. You said I did nothing. I was like, yes, you did. Okay, I get you. Okay.
All right. So that's how I come to this. I'm just round and exhausted. Carry on. Uh-huh.
Okay. So, another piece that I thought of when you were talking about the time factor, right? Because that's a big thing everybody says. We sometimes say like, I don't have a lot of time or we're really busy, right? Like you're a working mom. You work a full-time job.
We both are working moms.
Huh?
We're both working moms.
No, I know, but I'm really like laying out your schedule, right? So that's a full-time job, being a mom, working, being a wife, and then if anybody's listened to any of our episodes, you're on boards and committees. Like you are because I think this is a really good example. You're a very full schedule person. Like I've seen your calendar. I'm like, okay.
Sure.
Like I was like, you do a lot. Remember what I said? Like, I think it's not that I didn't think you didn't do a lot before, but like really looking at somebody's calendar, right? Yeah. So I think, and I don't know how this plays out for you, but I think too, as I've gotten older and just because, when there was single Renita, I mean, I'm doing all kinds of things and it's honestly about me, right? But then you get in a relationship, whether you're married or not, in a relationship is time, right? And energy. And then you just have a child, that's more time and energy. And you're working, more time and energy, right? But I think part of what I've noticed as I've added those roles, how much more self-care has become important, because those things can take over. And I don't mean that necessarily in a negative way, but you get so caught up in, my child does, not only do you play and interact with your kid, right? You take them places, they might be involved in activities. But I think a big piece about, I'm kind of getting a little crazy on this track, but I guess what I want to say is how important, remembering that self-care is vital. And like you and I really value being great moms, right? And like you were saying, to be a great mom, I think, well, I shouldn't say to be a great mom, but it's important to have energy, right? Nobody wants to feel like, I'm like you're saying, I'm tired. And then when it comes to anybody, like, oh, I'm so tired doing this, that just is like, that's not a good feeling, right? So I think part of that is seeing like this became a necessity. I guess I'm
Right.
sorry, I said this whole long-winded thing to say that although I've been kind of anti these things, I realized no, this is a necessity in my life. So,
Right.
um, I mean, have you tried any other programs before? Because since I've straight been a hater, you might have had some other experiences and done other programs. And would you share anything that you've done before?
Like diet programs?
Or lifestyle, anything that maybe you followed and then you started doing, okay, I'm going to start doing this each day or whatever. Like, did you have before noon? Because I feel like I thought you did tried other things.
Like way back in the day, pre-child,
Mm-hmm.
like I was Zumba head, I
Yes,
used to teach Zumba like 3, 4 times a week.
I forgot about.
And part of that was like the energy and exercise and fun.
Mm.
So, I mean, I think that's the most. I haven't done like, oh, I was vegan for 30 days.
Okay.
You remember that?
Yeah, I do remember you. Yeah, I do. I did forget until you told me. I mean, so we were talking about this.
There were a
Okay.
lot of French fries involved. So yeah, but I hadn't done like a app pay for your fitness sort of thing. So that was new for me too.
Okay. And now that you're saying that, it makes me think, okay, I did Zumba I wasn't teaching it, but I would go to classes. And actually, I used to be part of Club Fitness for a while, which I used, you know me. I was like, I'm not paying for a gym.
Paying to go to the gym.
I used to be like, well, I can dance, I can go outside, I can watch some, I can see these workouts online and do them. But so to be fair, I did try the gym thing before, but that was some years, like you're saying.
Yeah.
And it's been years since I've taken a Zumba class. So what I will say with Zoom, this is Zoom with Noom, what so let me say, I guess, what was helpful to me. So what I appreciated about Noom is really stopping to think about what I'm eating, when I'm eating, why I'm eating. Because to be fair, there are times I'm an emotional eater. So I think what was helpful with them is just digging a little deeper and making sure, like, is this like a quote unquote treat for myself? Did I have a rough day? Because that is definitely something that I've dealt with, where it was like, oh, I did something that was really uncomfortable today, or I did something that was really challenging. Let me stop and for me, sweets are my thing, and you know that. But to tell our listeners, like, I'm like, give me some fresh baked cookies, a cake, some candy,
A cookie cake.
right, a cookie cake. I love a cookie cake. I'm cool. I'll eat some fries, but that's my hang up.
Yeah. Can I tell your secret?
Yeah.
So you guys know she comes here and takes care of my little one.
Does I know?
She's like, hey, can you not leave that candy out? It's just too tempting. I'm like, okay. And then I put it in a box on the shelf, and she comes up just.
Oh, that was around Halloween, right? You did that.
Yes.
Yes. You said a secret. I didn't know what you're talking. This ain't no secret. This is yeah. She thought I meant like, you need to put it totally out of my sight. I am not good with, if I can see something, and had the nerve to have the cinnamon rolls just sitting up there. I'm not necessarily even a cinnamon roll person, but when you see that and you come up there, and I was like, see, that's what was different between you and I. That could sit there and you could be fine, right?
Yeah.
But you do that to me.
Well, I'm all about the cheeseburgers. Give
Mm-hmm.
me a cheeseburger. Pepper jack cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, focus.
So what are some, okay, so tell us a little bit of like some of your hangups, your little bit of like what I was sharing. Like what do you want the cheeseburgers, you want the fries, right?
And I
What
want it fast. I don't want to cook
yeah.
it. Like I let me rephrase. I do cook.
Yes, you do.
I do. But if I want a treat, that treat for me is Culver's, Five Guys, like a really good burger and some fries. And it's I think the part that's tough for me, oh, and soda.
Mm-hmm.
I get a little stuck on soda. So something I don't want to skip. But like if I don't have it in the house, I might not necessarily go out and get it.
Mm-hmm.
But when I buy a 12 pack, it doesn't last very long. So that's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Cheeseburgers and soda, I think is my kryptonite.
Do you know, do you feel like you have certain things, does stress trigger you?
Oh,
Does
I'm an emotional eater for sure. I want to eat when I'm happy.
mm-hmm.
If I'm feeling sad, anxiety is a big trigger for
Mm-hmm.
me because I have a bit of control issues. So
Oh,
I didn't say
you
a
can,
lot.
you can see me.
I can see you.
But you're
So
keeping
when
it honest and real. I appreciate that you said that.
oh yeah, I mean yeah. Yeah, so anxiety emotions period
Mm-hmm.
trigger me and I can do really really well for a while. Like do you have that where excuse me, like you can be on this kick where you're just out there making magic happen and then like something small. I mean, I say small, but like it's not it doesn't even feel like a big emotion. But
Mm-hmm.
then it's just like, well, I had one cheeseburger. I might as well have it for dinner and lunch tomorrow too, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then you get pulled into this anyway. Am I going off topic?
No, this is really an episode for us to share and be vulnerable with you all to say what we're dealing with. So people are going to relate to what we're talking about.
Well,
I
you talked about Noom and
mhm.
how that the psychology part of it worked for you. And then like did you feel like you got tips and tricks that you needed that you could carry on or
Oh,
that you can like kind of work within the system? Like what's happening now?
yeah, so I told Tara this and I'll tell all y'all and somebody, if you're a spokesperson or you work from Noom, you may not like this, but I did appreciate like the tips and tricks of the idea that I think this was really big for me, that there's no good food, bad food type
Mm.
deal. It's just really understanding like, okay, you decide that you're going to have those fries today. Okay, understand, the fat content, the carbs, the calories of that. And maybe that's the choice that I have, but the rest of the day I'm not continuing to then have cupcake and a soda or whatever, right? So, and I'm going to take this a little step further, that this is also important to me for my son, because I I grew up, well, both of us, we grew up in the 80s, and I felt like um I didn't want to use the word, I don't know why I said grew up in the 80s, what this has to do with it, but I guess in my mind, the idea of treats, I didn't want to use that language with my son because I didn't want him to associate like sugar and things that aren't as healthy, like a treat, and oh, this is like a reward, as opposed to like I really say, oh, he says, can I have, let's say he says a popsicle. I say, oh, you want to have some sugar? Okay. And I've explained to him, uh, I know this is kind of off, but I guess I don't know where I kind of got on the train, but
Say it.
um, just the idea of getting away from the, I guess that's what I want to say is appreciating the label of good food, bad food, and passing that down to my child. Because for me, that's really important to not create like, ooh, this is some you've talked to me a lot about this, like this is some coveted food, and like not making it a big deal, because I feel like that happened for me and I don't want that for my child. So it was like, okay, yeah, you can have some sugar, and I've explained to him the vegetables, the water, the fruits, these things that are healthy are going to give you the energy, because my kid is very active, right? And he loves to run and play and race and do a lot of physical things. And so I said, those things will help you do that. I understand cake tastes good. It tastes good to mommy too. But that doesn't give me the energy. So we can have some of that, but we can't eat that all day long, and we're not going to have that every time. And so I'm saying, although that's, I want to pass that to him, it's also reworking my brain to say that to myself. Like, okay, I know me, and I know like what I've learned is I'm going to go to a birthday party and have some cake. But what I'm not going to do is like, okay, let me have multiple pieces of cake, or it's like, okay, I had my cake, I can move on.
Yeah.
So to answer your, I feel like I took those tricks and tips and then left the Noom world. But for me, lastly, I'll say, because I've been talking a little too long,
Gosh.
is that I appreciated how aware it made me of like serving size and just being more present when I'm eating, because I would just grab like a handful of Cheez-Its and put them, in a bowl. Now, I'm not saying now I count each one out, but it's made me think about what is truly a serving size. And what's interesting, because I didn't think this of myself, but I have noticed that when I actually have that serving size, it's usually like, okay, that's enough of the cheeses, that's enough that I wanted. I don't necessarily need a big bowl of something. And
Yeah.
I think when you get kind of used to like not being as present with it and paying more attention, it's like, oh. And even one time I told you I went to get a snack that I don't dislike, but it's not even my thing, for my son, and I started to take some, and then I stopped, and I was like, I don't even want this. I was really taking it because I stopped to get him some. Like,
Yep.
I don't need that.
You just said something, and the blue bowls that I have in my house, they're these like big, I don't know what they're supposed to be for, but they're like the big bowls that I have. And so one day I had ice cream in there, and I mean, I dig my ice cream. We've talked about ice cream.
Yeah.
So I had ice cream in there, and then the other day, all the blue bowls were dirty. So I got one of the little white bowls, which is like much, much smaller. And I put ice cream in there. And when I was done, I was like that was a lot less ice cream. And I still feel not full is not the word, but like I feel like I got my fill of ice cream,
Yeah.
And so that even kind of makes me think about, how they always talk about your plate size, will help you eat like I am definitely no expert at this stuff, but I know that I notice that. And even when I have the blue bowl, like I'll have ice cream in there, and then I'll look at, how you look at it and it's like, I don't have room for that.
Right.
But I'm not gonna waste it. This ice cream costs too damn much.
Can't let this stuff go to waste.
Right. Anyway, so yeah.
No, that's a good point. I don't know what it was like in your household, but that's another message that I've had to get off of, because I grew up where you're supposed to finish your plate. I don't, and I understand. I'm not knocking my parents. I understand where that's coming from. But now looking at it like, do I need to finish all of this am I actually, am I good? Like, am I walking away feeling like I'm not hungry anymore, but I'm not so, where you got the itis and then it's like, you can't, y'all know what the itis is?
Don't even. I was like, we're going to have to get a definition on this.
You don't want
Anyway. No, I do not.
somebody in the comments goes, what's the itis? So if they ask in the comments, you and I are both going to respond to that. Okay.
You are taken to the gram by yourself to explain itis. Okay. Carry on.
The balance of I'm no longer hungry, but I'm not like, oh my gosh, I'm so full I can't do anything else, right?
You're frozen.
Am I?
Not anymore.
Okay. What did you just say? Oh, so yeah, I've had to, change that message and go, okay, either paying attention to my portions, but also going, if I'm good, I can just put this in a Tupperware or, the Pyrex bowls and then save it for later.
Yeah.
Because
okay.
What, okay, so I want to know, like, what are your thoughts around exercise? What do you enjoy? What do you find is your lane, right? Because we talked about this before, like, we've talked about staying in our lane or knowing our lane in general, but not necessarily around health and exercise. Do you know, like, what works for you, what you enjoy?
I do enjoy going to the gym. I haven't been in a really long time. And like for me, getting ready to go to the gym is the struggle. But once I'm there, I could be there for 2 hours if I'm doing like a fitness class. I don't want to just pump iron or walk on the treadmill, but like to do a dance class or a kickboxing class or something like that. Like that's my jam.
Wait, do you know what is this a silly question, but I think that's good to point out. You said you like the classes. What is it? Because I don't see you as I want to work out with a group type of person. Is that helpful to you? Like, what is it about? Do you know what it is about classes specifically that it's helpful to you?
I feel like there's a point to the madness. Like when I'm just lifting weights, I think I'm doing it right, but I don't know if this issue's working, and then the treadmill is just walking. I can do that at home.
Okay.
So it's just having some, I like my structure. So it's just having a little structure with it, I guess.
Okay. No, I think that's why I want to know, because I mean, we talk to different people, right? We talk to whoever in our circle, and we know people who are runners. We know people who like the CrossFit or whatever. So that's why I was asking, because I think that's a good thing to know, is like you are a structured person. So you see it as, okay, I go here at this time, I do this, right? There's a start, there's an end. As opposed to, well, I mean, I guess there's still a start and end to lifting or being on the treadmill, but no, I think that's helpful to know, like, that. Like, so do you feel, what's the challenge? Is there a challenge with you around exercise? Do you feel like that's something you can do inside or outside of your home? Because when the pandemic hit, for some people, like, the gyms and stuff shut down, right? So
yeah. The challenge is time, right? Not necessarily finding the time, but finding the time or making the time, making it a priority, like you talked about. We prioritize caring for everyone else except for ourselves, so just finding the time to do it. And when the pandemic, I wasn't going to the gym pre-pandemic, let's just be honest. But when the pandemic hit, like the sitting around trying to find something to do, we do have a treadmill in the laundry room, and so I walked on there sometimes. When the weather is nice, I go outside and do some walking. I started like doing, how they have the couch to 5K. I told you about this with a friend. I started doing that, and okay,
You got a
I
butt.
used to run track. So I enjoy, running, jogging, walking briskly.
You
I
enjoy
enjoy,
that?
yeah.
Or is it, I'm just asking, like, is this the competition? Can you tell a little bit about the Couch to 5K, what that is if people don't know? And is that like a competitive thing?
The Couch to 5K is just like an app where it slowly builds you up from like nothing
Mm-hmm.
to being in shape in a position to run a 5K. So like it would start like day one is like 20 minutes. You start with like a warm up, which is just like walking. And then I think I'm guessing, but like you would jog for a minute and then walk for 2 minutes and
What
then
are you
jog
saying
for,
you're guessing? I thought you did this.
I don't know like the times. I'm guessing at the time.
Oh,
So
well, yeah. Okay.
yeah. And so then like it would progressively go to like you're jogging for 2 minutes and
Mm-hmm.
only walking for one or whatever the ratio was. But it made it easier to like build up to it. And yes, Renita, I do have a thing with competition. I enjoy that. Um, I don't enjoy losing.
Right.
So
So that, how has that helped you? Because I think that competition plays a role for people. Like if they decide, in their fitness, health, life, whatever you want to call it, um, is that a motivator for you? Like if there was a competition created, like who can get the most steps, or would that make you feel more like, nah, I'll do this?
yeah, we had one of those at work pre-pandemic
Mm-hmm.
where you have like however many months to get a certain number of steps to, and like you're part of a team, with your
Mm-hmm.
coworkers, or you not or and you can win like prizes.
Mm-hmm.
Sign me up, I'm here for it all the time. What about you? I don't see you as like a big like competitive kind of person. So what's
You're
your
right.
motivator?
You're right. I am not, especially in physical things, because that's usually not my strength. No, that's why I wanted to touch on that, because I think I know you and I know you're competitive. My motivation has been I think it's really like the time. I mean, I can work out or do some exercise with somebody else, that's not an issue, but the self-care piece, and knowing like I can step away from my family and go for a walk by myself or meet up with somebody. I am more of, this, but like I'm a walker. I can walk for a long time, especially if I'm
Mhm.
talking to somebody. I love to walk with somebody because I will talk and I'll get so distracted and you're like, we got how many miles already? Or if I love to call like be on the, like catch up with a friend on the phone, and I'll tell them if I'm breathing heavy, I'm walking. But because I'm so focused on what they're talking about, and I'm like, you helped me. Like it really does help me. I know a lot of people listen to music or, a podcast. Um, I mean, so that's if
This
I'm,
podcast,
what's that? Right. Check out
I said this
listen to our
podcast.
podcast while you're working out. You know this, but like I love doing it outdoors. So winter is a
Yeah.
really hard time for me. So then I do like you, I have a treadmill. And what I will say to myself is, all right, you want to watch a show, right? So this is something they talked about on Noom, giving a little, somebody's gonna get me from Noom, like you're giving away our secrets for free. But the idea of it's two things, right? I'm doing something that's good for me and exercise, but I'm also doing something I want to do, which is like watch a show. Sometimes I'll listen to music,
Right.
but often a show or a movie is that I'm so focused on that I keep going. So that's typically in the winter. But that's a hard time. But in that fall, spring, summer, I'm out there walking. I do like to dance, but it's a little like, okay, either dancing by myself or what? To a song. My son will definitely get down with me, but like I would say like that would probably be better for a class. Like if I was going to do a class, it would be something
Hmm.
around like dancing, because other than that, I'm like, no. Um,
Hey, let me ask you a question.
yeah.
So you talked about this treadmill. Does it bother you that you aren't going anywhere?
You know,
I'm serious.
you and other people say that, and it's so funny because I don't ever think about it like that. Like don't get me wrong, it can get boring. Like I said, in the winter it's not so fun. Like I do like that when it's nice outside, because I can try different. I did one route like for so long that I was like, okay, I need a new route. So like the change is nice outside, but I don't really trip off of that. I'm not going anywhere.
I find that I can't do the treadmill very long. Like I could walk outside for like an hour.
Hmm.
And even if I'm watching a movie on the
Hmm.
treadmill, I'm like, I'm still in the laundry room and
Right.
I need to get those clothes out of the dryer. So it seems like,
A little distracting. Yeah. No, I've heard
yeah.
other people say that. No, I've heard people say that. Um,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, it's I I can see that. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes I've been distracted, but I think another part of me goes, there's no excuse for me not to do this because this is inside my
In
home.
my house.
So I'm
Yeah.
like, and you know what? I also I don't even know if it was learned or realized the value of I don't know if you remember when I first started kind of like doing like, I wouldn't say, I don't know when YouTube started or when they first started putting these things on, but I remember this was some years ago. I said to you, oh, I would find these little workouts on YouTube, and it was
Hmm.
walking workouts, or they would do different exercises. And you could even do like, I don't like on the floor ab work, but this lady taught you how to do like standing up ab work. But what I remember telling you, oh, I find these, because you know I'm all about like free stuff. So I was like, I find these, but what I appreciated is she offered things where you only had 10 minutes, 15, and I realized that this was really helpful because I got on the train. I used to think like, okay, I don't have enough time. So I just didn't, like, if I'd be like, oh, I only have 20 minutes, that's not enough. Instead of thinking like, okay, I did 20 minutes and not getting caught up in the time, but the idea that I
Yeah.
stopped to do something, even if my in between, like sometimes it would help me like, oh, I know I have to do something at 7. Okay, it's 6 o'clock. I have this amount of time to do it, instead of thinking like, okay, that's not enough time and just not do anything. That's my point. Something is better than nothing. And I think that's actually been really helpful to me, uh,
Okay.
to not get so caught up. Like, is it, you don't have to spend an hour, if you have 20 minutes in the morning and then maybe you even find 10 minutes later on, you've 30 minutes that you combining the time.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Well, so you tried noon, you've been walking, you've been watching the portion sizes. Are you seeing or feeling anything? Oh, not with the face. Should have planned.
no, so that's something I wanted to be fair to say, that I have not been so good about. One, we can't seem to find the scale in our house. And I haven't.
Convenient.
Yeah, and I've told Tara I've always been an anti-scale person. I always thought
Hmm.
it didn't make you feel good. I mean, when I wasn't the weight that I'm at now, I probably didn't trip off of it, right? But I still didn't use a scale back then. So one, I don't really know if it's literally dropped any weight. So to be fair, uh, that's where I probably could do a little more work. But I do want to say that one other thing that's helped me is being aware of like steps. And you and other people I know, like, yeah, how we um I know people have had them, and it's not like I've been like asleep, but just it's interesting to me how I've seen now just having an actual physical device and something that I can look at.
Reminder.
Yeah, a reminder. Thank you. To motivate and just be like, okay, because I'll say to my husband, I got this, and he steps, and my thing does like fireworks and starts vibrating.
Yes, I love the party.
And I'm like, that's so funny. And I, to be fair, I don't think I would have thought that these things would have done anything for me before. I don't know. I think I
Yeah,
don't think I really valued or really just didn't put enough effort into thinking like, yeah, this is doing
this
something.
might be helpful.
Yeah.
I think it's helpful to me too. So like I rock the Fitbit, and I have it do the party when I reach my 10,000 steps. And like the last couple days, I've been like right on the edge, like 8,000 steps. So I head outside because I want to hit that 10, you know? So it has been a motivating factor for me. And it is like these little things
Mm-hmm.
that seem to help. I don't know.
Yeah. I, I, I was talking to a friend, and she was saying something about, she was the one who kind of said to me like, you could probably try some other things if the awareness piece is what helps you, that are for free. And
Right.
so what was my point? What I've appreciated is because I am more aware, it's pushed me to like for instance tonight, I knew
Mm-hmm.
I wanted Indian food. I love some Indian food. And if
I
people,
do know.
Tara knows that. And if whoever's listening that knows me well knows I am like I can eat Indian a lot. But because I typically like it and I have bigger portions, it can be a little heavy and not always the best health wise. So what I appreciate, that I still have to work on the food piece, but what
Yeah.
I did do was like, okay, I took some steps this morning because I was outside with Tara's son and I was making my steps. But I said, you know what? Okay, I'm going to have this food. But what you got to do is either go back outside or get on your treadmill. Well, I will say that I felt a little done with the sun today. So
Woo!
I said, I will get on that treadmill. And it was 30 minutes, but it was just like, I need to put in a little effort.
Extra.
Yeah,
Yes.
a little extra effort. So I just think keeping that yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to get to maybe the ideal weight, but I feel like I'm trying to move in the direction of being more conscious about my choices. Um, and this is kind of what I was going to ask you next about, like, when you get off track, or if you have a bad day or a bad couple days or a bad week, like, what do you do? Or how do you get yourself back on track?
So after I beat myself up a little bit, I just start over. I just start over. But I can get into a spiral where it's like I said, like I have one cheeseburger, I may as well have two,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me it's just about starting it again
Mm-hmm.
and having somebody to say, which is usually you go, hey, how's that noon thing going? Or how you doing with your nutrition? Because we did our I get, we call them goals, right?
Yeah.
Goals 2021
Mm-hmm.
around fitness, and
Yep.
I have it hung up in the bathroom so I can always see it. And so that's another reminder. So I just start over. What do you do?
So accountability, right, is also a piece that helps you, right?
Right.
Um, yeah, what I've noticed is I will get a little like, ooh, I kind of like feeling a little guilty, or like, dang, I'm
Mm-hmm.
off. But one is kind of hokey, but like it's a new day, or even if I have a whole, because this definitely has happened. Like you're saying, sometimes I'll just have a bad week where it's really like I just feel like I can't motivate either to get healthier with my food or to do some exercise. But I do notice that then, I will have a really good week, or I'll get back on track, or something will happen and I'll be like, okay, uh, let me not just, wallow in that, and let me get, excuse me, back on track. And
Yeah.
and also I don't know if this is right, but kind of being okay with like you get into a slump, and then sometimes you get off that slump and you're doing really great, and
Yeah.
kind of rolling with the right, the ebbs
Ebbs
and
and
flows
flows.
of that.
Yep.
So, and I've also to be fair, I've also considered that I may not actually get to this ideal weight number, like this, the actual number in my head, but
You
just,
have a number in your head?
yeah. And I think
Okay.
well, I know there's a part of me that is like, can I push myself enough to do that? Or am I really, or am I going to let that go and just work more on just some healthier choices and be able to deal with maybe the weight that I am? Because I'm going to be really honest. Um, I do think there's a part of me that's just like, I don't know if I can drop that much weight and really like be on that train enough to do that. I think I can make some different choices, but yeah, I will say that I get a little like, yeah, I don't know.
Huh. Okay.
So I don't that's probably not the most motivating thing.
Well,
But
how do you feel about that? That's hard for me.
yeah.
Don't tell me I can't do it.
No, you're right. You are good with like somebody says I can't, and I think I feel like, yeah, I don't know if I can push myself enough. I think
I
like,
need someone out there. Okay.
yeah.
Someone who is listening who is just like fitness 101 or nutrition 101 or
Mhm.
both. I need to hear from you guys. Like, what are you out here doing to stay fit and trim in the midst of a pandemic and family or just life? What are you doing to stay fit and trim? Okay, I put out my PSA.
But don't you think, I mean, I think that people are all doing it, but really isn't it the difference of the person who pushes past those things that say, okay, you can go to the gym or you can go do this another day? Like, I don't really think there's,
So
I don't
you
know if
think it's just a willpower situation? Just white
I
knuckle it.
personally think that it is. And that's why I'm admitting, I know that you're better about this. I'm admitting that I don't know if my willpower is strong enough sometimes. So I know that this is really about me. It's not, there's not a secret, right? It's the people, there's somebody like me who decides I'm going to have that cake, and somebody else who goes, nope, not going to do it and keep it moving. And I do think that they've made that choice. And I think sometimes I've just gone, all right, I'm willing to accept this body. I think sometimes, I don't know.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. I feel like this episode is jacked because we do not have any answers to this. We have all the problems and no answers.
what we right, well, we don't. Like you said, we are not like the nutrition or the like, this isn't like, I would say for both of us, this is not like our wheelhouse, right?
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah.
just being honest, real people, not that the people aren't real people, but saying like, these are our struggles, these are our hang-ups, this is what we're doing. And we'll see. I mean, maybe a year from now it'll look a
We'll
little
see.
different, or it won't. But I will say, like you, I like the accountability. I like that, we'll check in with each other and kind of be like, hey, are you doing um this, or how's this going? And then I have with I have some other people like in my family that will do like an accountability around workouts, and just kind of saying, hey, this is what I'm trying, this is what I'm doing. And what is actually interesting for me is hearing when I see somebody else, I didn't think that this would necessarily be a motivating thing, but it's kind of like, okay, let me get off my tail. Like they're showing me, and people are doing a variety of things, right? They might be in this group. Sometimes people are like hiking. Some people are I'm doing so many miles of walking or jogging a week. I'm
Wow.
focusing on this amount of water. So they're doing all these different things, which is helpful to me. Just there's so many avenues that you can do, right? To get maybe to where you want. And I feel like I'm just talking so randomly, but also that what's helpful to me is to realize it doesn't have to be like a workout that's very traditional and structured, right?
Got
We
it.
both have kids. So my son loves to race. Okay. I can race with that boy, and that's burning some calories, and I can't do as many as he can do. But he wants to go outside and maybe we play soccer. And so getting out of it doesn't have to look like a traditional thing where I'm lifting or I'm on the treadmill, but it's that, or going for a hike, or going for a family walk, and just something that dancing, and just getting outside of it looks like this, but I'm moving. And I think at the end of the day, I'm just happy that that's part of our norm in our family, because I think the biggest thing that maybe if it doesn't quite get everywhere I want it to be, for my son to grow up that being physically active was like a norm, not like this thing to do, but it was like normal. Because I guess I think that I feel like that could be helpful for you later on in your life, that it's not like, oh, this is such a struggle, because I think of it as, do you know what I'm saying? It's just a normal day to do something active. Then, okay, I have to really think about it. I want it to be like just a normal second nature.
I feel that. Okay. All right. Well, what are our takeaways? It doesn't have to fit in the box. That was the takeaway.
Yeah.
Got it.
And I don't have to fit in a box. Find your lane. If you're a runner, or if you like the what is the high intensity ones? Is that what it's called? Where you do like,
HIIT?
Yeah. Right? What is that? High intensity training? Is that
interval training? High intensity
training? Right.
Interval training.
Whatever you feel like. I just feel like that, remembering that and not getting caught up in like, oh, so-and-so said they ran 5 miles. If you're not a runner, that's going to be like torturous. Like, I feel like you have to find some joy or something out of whatever you do. So don't, stay in your lane. Okay. And if you need accountability, find some people that will help you, support
Find your people. That's always my takeaway. Find your people.
Okay, it's late. You ready to go to bed, child?
Girl, I might pass out.
I know.
I'm my bedtime, y'all.
Well, I hope this episode was helpful, y'all. To be honest, I feel, I can be all around about and on the talk train, and I feel like this was a little bit like that, but hopefully people got something from it.
I think they did. And like I said, I want to hear from you guys for real. If you have recommendations, suggestions, I'm here for it.
We're here for it. All right.
All right, my friends. Until next time.
Yeah.
Hey.